Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So as if red flag laws aren't bad enough already, imagine if you took the judge out of the equation altogether and allowed law enforcement, teachers, and others to simply say that you shouldn't have your rights. Well, that's actually something that's happening right now, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get to it. Now, before we go any further, if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second, but it helps me out quite a bit. And check out the sponsor of this channel, which is the USCCA. With your membership, you get self-defense liability insurance, concealed carry magazine, you get national reciprocity maps, online training and education, and so much more. That'll be down below. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here. So this came from a story that I read earlier by Cam Edwards. So the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, the one guy that even most of his constituents don't like, has decided that what he's going to do is he's going to allow law enforcement more leeway in determining a policy that already exists in Illinois. Now, in Illinois, the Second Amendment does not exist as is already because you have to obtain a FOID card before you can go and buy anything. That's your firearms owner identification card. Now, if you have to get some type of ID or get a license in order to practice a right, it's no longer a right. It's a privilege that was granted to you by that permit that the government allowed you to have. And you can also get a CCW in Illinois, right? Both of which are controlled by a policy called clear and present danger. If somebody is determined to be a clear and present danger in Illinois, well, then they can't get either of those, whether it's a FOID card or a CCW. If someone determines that you are a clear and present danger, you basically lose your rights altogether to begin with. You even lose the privilege. So what Pritzker has decided to do is decided to give them more leeway in determining what that clear and present danger is and whether or not it should apply to somebody. Now, this is basically red flags on steroids. So a judge is not involved. Okay, there's no filling out an affidavit, trying to provide proof, and then that proof goes up to a judge, and that judge determines, like in a standard red flag, whether or not, that warrant to seize somebody's property is then given, right? So it's like the minimalist amount of oversight for red flags. This actually gets rid of that altogether and allows an individual person to determine whether or not you should be able to have your rights. So law enforcement officer, counselor, teacher, all of these people can simply say that I believe this person is a danger, and they tell law enforcement, or law enforcement determines that they're a danger, and that's it. You're done. You don't get a FOID card, which means you're out your rights. Or if you already have a FOID card and maybe you're going to apply for your CCW, gone. That's it. That's all they need is for one person to determine, or one person to think that you're something that hasn't even been adjudicated, something that maybe you've never been in trouble for ever, right? Maybe you just had a thought or expressed a feeling or an emotion about something, and that could be enough for them to determine that and simply not issue your CCW or not issue your FOID in Illinois. Now, if you think this doesn't apply to you, you might want to think twice, because you have to try and remember that other states that have a disdain for our rights are watching the same things that we are. They're seeing this as well and wondering, that might actually work in our state. Imagine the United States as a floating ship, okay? And if one state has a hole in it and that hole is letting in water, the entire country sinks. It's not just, it's sort of like when I lived in California and people thought, oh, that's terrible, I hate California and everything that's happening there. Not seeing that, we're kind of tilting, California's sinking, and guess what? It's going to bring down everybody else as well. And that's what you see across the country. Things that happen in California, they tend to spread across the rest of the country. This right here, this policy that they have in Illinois, can very easily spread to other states where they would just simply get rid of the middleman. If you don't need a judge anymore and they could simply do it on a whim based on somebody's opinion, which is all it is, it's just somebody's opinion. If they could do that, then they could do it wherever they wanted. So you have to keep your eye on it and watch what happens with this, because if it's not taken to court and if it's not struck down that it's clearly unconstitutional, then obviously it's going to spread elsewhere and it's just going to become a bigger battle in the courts. So it's always something to consider. You got to watch what's going on. If you live in Illinois, you need to be aware of it, stay on top of these things so that you can vote accordingly, which is the biggest thing I think that you can do. But you need to make your voice heard. You need to make your complaints known so that they know what you're thinking. And then when it comes time to actually vote, take action, You have to do that because Pritzker is basically destroying rights in that state. So anyway, I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. I thought it was a very interesting story, and I'll link directly to the story itself down below if you want to read a little bit more about it. But yeah, getting rid of that middleman, somebody as important as a judge to look over the affidavit and, you know, any supporting facts or evidence, that's the worst type of red flag right there. So thank you all very much for watching. Again, I do very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second. And support the main sponsor of the channel. You guys have a great day.